welcome to another TLDR Global video. We're in Africa, and more specifically the autonomous region of Somaliland. In this video we're going to be discussing this controversial border and the state that encloses it, before debating whether it should be recognised as a state by the international community. If you haven't, the bell means that you'll never miss another video from TLDR Global. We're going to split this video into three parts. First, the history of Somaliland. Secondly, Somaliland today. And thirdly, whether Somaliland should be recognised as a state. Let's start with the history. Pre-1960, Somaliland was a British protectorate called British Somaliland, while the rest of modern Somalia was an Italian territory called Italian Somaliland. On the 26th of June 1960, Britain gave up control of British Somaliland, which then became the sovereign country of Somaliland. So Somaliland was a proper sovereign state, recognised by 35 others. At this point you might be wondering why you've never heard of Somaliland, but that would be fair enough, because Somaliland only officially lasted 5 days. On July 1st, Italy gave up Italian Somaliland, and the two immediately united to become the Somali Republic, which is what we now call Somalia. Unfortunately for the North, this was probably a bit of a mistake. The North had a far smaller population than the South. To give you a sense of the difference, in the 1960 British Somaliland elections, there were only 80,000 voters, compared to 600,000 in the 1956 Italian Somaliland elections. This meant that despite opposition to the 1961 constitution, it still passed with 90% support, mainly from the South, a trend which we'll see continue. The Somali Republic only actually lasted until 1969 anyway, when the president at the time was shot dead by one of his own bodyguards. This was quickly followed by a military coup, where Siad Barre, the then commander of the army, took power, and renamed the country the Somali Democratic Republic. Barre's reign was, it's fair to say, disastrous. He started and lost a war with Ethiopia, which ended in the death of a third of the invading Somali army. He fell out with the Soviets, who were basically his only allies, and he triggered the disastrous and still ongoing Somali Civil War. Eventually, in 1991, Barre was overthrown by anti-government rebels, including the Somali National Movement. The Somali National Movement were a northern paramilitary group, and after ousting Barre, they decided to declare Somaliland's independence, basically where the British protectorate of Somaliland used to be. In 2001, they held a referendum on said independence, which was supported by 97%